y'all. My name is Shana Jane, a certified sobriety health and wellness coach with 14 years of experience in the treatment industry and also my own history with substance abuse. As the founder and CEO of Controlled Chaos, I've made it my mission to provide a supportive community for those facing alcoholism and addiction. This podcast is a real, no-nonsense exploration of life and sobriety. No sugarcoating, just real, honest conversations. Life after addiction can be a crazy, wild ride, and here at Controlled Chaos, we're here to tackle it head on. From navigating relationships to finding purpose, we're your lifeline in chaos. Let's dive into the real challenges of sobriety and carve out our path together. I love y'all mucho. Let's go.
All right, guys, bear with us because it's our first time doing it, so.
I'm here. Yay.
Hey, I figured it out.
Look at you. We won't let technology win. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Catch me up. What did I miss?
I literally just got on. So just kind of introducing myself. I am Shana. My name is Shana Epps, and we just created this podcast together. We kind of go way back.
Woo, back in those blogging streets.
So we decided to name it Controlled Chaos, and I think that's just because basically everything we all go through in life, right? But then again, get through it and everything ends up being okay, right?
Yep, most of the time. No, I'm kidding. It really does end up being okay. I'm totally kidding. Things work out fine. So let me introduce myself. My name is Latoya the Therapist. I am a licensed professional counselor. I'm a wife. I'm a mom. I also have a fur baby, which I'm really excited about. And I love talking about all things marriage, mental health, and lifestyle. And I met you, Shana, back when we were doing our lifestyle blogging thing, right?
Yeah.
Like over 10 years ago, because I wasn't married yet.
Yes, and I think you were about to get married. And honestly, just like now, I'm kind of going through a huge transition in my life. Back then, when I met you, I was going through a huge transition. I was super young. I was in a marriage that wasn't, doing great. I had kids super young. So I think that's like a great way to lead into this conversation about what our podcast is actually going to be about today.
Go for it.
So we're going to talk about conquering anxiety and depression, basically something that we all deal with. I mean, a lot of the times probably, especially as women and mothers, not that everybody doesn't deal with anxiety, but I think it's awesome to learn like some coping mechanisms around it, what you can kind of do to, stop some of that stuff. Like I said, when I met you, I was going through, a really bad marriage. I had kids super young. So I think there's like a little bit of like postpartum component to some of that, right?
Right.
And I was constantly dealing with anxiety, and it's something that, after I ended up getting divorced and moving on and whatnot, I had a huge struggle with substance abuse and that type of thing. And I was always having anxiety and panic attacks. So it's something that I really have had to like learn how to deal with, and especially in my sobriety, like you can't grab that wine, you can't grab that liquor, and what do you do, right?
Right.
So what is it? What are your suggestions?
Okay, so I like to start with like defining anxiety, because I think it's very thrown around. I think people are out here like, oh, my anxiety's acting up. But what does that actually mean? So anxiety is excessive stress and worry, and it can definitely manifest itself in different ways. So it can be like irritability, difficulty being still, muscle tension, like I said, worried, constant thoughts of like the future. So always thinking about what's going to happen next. Am I going to have this? Is this going to be enough? Like all of those types of thoughts. And so the reason I want to define it is because some anxiety is good. Like it's going to keep you from walking down a dark alley. It's going to keep you from making a poor decision. So not all anxiety is bad anxiety. It only becomes bad when it starts to interfere with your life. So when you're unable to make phone calls, when you're unable to take the next step on things in life that you want, like when it's hindering you from actually living your life and like reaching your goals, that's when it becomes bad. So your question was, how do you deal with that? Well, I'm always going to say go to therapy, but that's what I do for a living. So I will always start there. But I recognize that there are barriers and limitations to seeking a therapist. So if you're just looking for something quick, while I do not believe in tips and tricks, I always think that there's something going on underneath. There are a few things that you can do to kind of bring yourself back to the present. So a really easy one is 3-2-1. It's a grounding technique, and grounding is just another form of mindfulness. Mindfulness seeks to bring you back to the present because your anxiety is really having you think about the past or really think about the future. You want to think about the present because typically the present is okay. So I always teach people 3-2-1. You just look for three things that you can see, two things that you can touch, and one thing that you can smell. So you can do this anywhere, right? Like you're at the post office freaking out because it's holiday season and so many people are there and you're like, oh my goodness. Just look for three things that you can see, two things that you can touch. I tell people to touch your own hands because when you touch yourself, it really does help bring you back to the moment because you're like, oh, here we are, we're doing this. And then one thing that you can smell, hopefully the post office doesn't stink, but if it
I feel
does,
like
it's definitely going to bring you
all the,
back to the present. I
it's a,
always tell people though,
everybody.
like, right, it's not necessarily about the smell, it's about teaching you how to calm your nervous system. So that is one thing that I always encourage people to do because listen, life is gonna life every day.
100%. Definitely. I think that something, so for me, anxiety was kind of different. Like people will say like, oh, I have panic attacks or I get anxiety because of this or this is going on. And I was having life so much that I wouldn't even think anything was wrong. And I would be like at work and all of a sudden feel like I'm going to pass out or have a heart attack, right? And I'm
Hmm.
like, oh my God, I got to go to the hospital. And I get there and they're like, girl, you need an Ativan maybe?
Oh.
Like you fine, right? You know,
Hmm.
so one thing, first of all, definitely therapy and counseling, right? And I've done my fair share of that being in recovery. But the other thing is like having daily rituals that I do in order to stay like grounded
Yeah.
and to really look at my stress. So like
Right.
when I wake up in the morning, I do like my little prayer time and journaling. Like I try to get a little bit of exercise. Now I really hate to exercise with like my whole heart.
I love it most
You
of the
have
time.
like outfits the other day and I was like, I want to do that. But where am I
It
going to wear
helps. To the gym, their gym outfits. You wear them to the gym.
I'll be watching me in my Fabletics. No, I'm just kidding. But no, really though, like keeping some kind of routine to keep your stress down, I find is like really good because for me, it wasn't necessarily like something's going on right now that's stressing me out. Like if you asked me, I wouldn't even be able to tell you what was wrong, right?
Hmm.
But when I started like implementing things like taking care of myself, right? Like
Hmm.
running on empty and drinking alcohol all
Ooh.
the time and having to go to work hungover and having to come home and still have kids to take care of and that type of thing. And then like all the shame around that, right?
Hmm.
So I think that once I started to clean up my life and really have a routine, then I just wasn't faced with that as much. So I think kind of like getting to it before it starts, if that's a
Hmm.
thing. With,
Yeah, I think what you're describing is like increasing your window of frustration tolerance. Like we all have a window of like, I'm handling things, things are going, and then boom, it's too much. I'm having a panic attack. I need to go to the ER, right? So those routines, that self-care, that morning thing, all of that's setting you up so that your window is bigger because you never know what's going to happen during the day. So starting your day from a place of peace, from a grounded place, being mindful and like, okay, I'm ready to do this now. That only helps you moving forward. I think a lot of times people don't seek help or don't try to do grounding or don't really try to do anything until they're already at a 10. You want to start way before you get to a 10. Like if we're talking a scale of 1 to 10, I tell people 5 to 10, that's the red zone. We're too late. We
Right.
should we
Already
should have started at 3.
Shayna's at
Like,
the ER
yeah,
having a fake heart.
yeah, like we are too late now. Like we should have started a while
Right.
back, because now you call your friend, you go to the hospital, you call your therapist, like whatever your thing is, and you're at a 10, you're gonna spend all that time coming back to 1. So you're not gonna learn anything. You're not gonna walk away with anything. You're gonna feel like, whew, I feel better because I got it out. And there is a therapeutic component to venting, but you're not gonna necessarily leave feeling like, okay, I have a plan for next time, because you came at a 10.
Right.
Let's try to be at a 3.
That definitely does make sense. So kind of making sure that if something is wrong or you feel like you're getting there, that you get to it like way before you're at your top notch.
Yes, yes. And then I'm one of those people who used to say, well, I don't know what that is because I'm 0 to 100. We're really not. We just don't pay attention to our body, so it feels that way. Like it feels like 0 10. And that's not really what happened. Like something happened in the middle, but because we're not necessarily in tune with ourselves, we didn't catch it. So like we'll start sweating, we'll be about to cry. You know that little lump in your throat when you're about to cry? Like that happens.
Yeah,
Your stomach drops, you start clenching your teeth. Something is going on before you get to 10. And I feel like if we spent more time paying attention to our bodies, increasing that frustration tolerance window, we'd be able to catch it sooner.
definitely. I agree with
Mhm.
that. I think that those are some like good, healthy coping mechanisms, but I like that you really do bring up not just because you're a therapist, right? But really seeking help, because I feel like some
Yeah.
feel like we don't have time. Like, I mean, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I work full time. I be on the internet trying to do a little something. Like, there's like, it feels like there's not enough time in the day sometimes, but if you don't make time for your mental health, it'll make you make
Mhm.
time. You know? So I
Yeah.
feel kind of, again, like getting ahead of things is like kind of the biggest way to cope, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I like being proactive. Like being proactive and not reactive is always going to be more beneficial. It's just that like when you're going and you're in your day to day, I don't think people think they have a problem. Like you said earlier, like I was just used to doing it this way, so like I was just stressed and it was cool. I couldn't even tell you what was going on. So most people don't even know to like, oh, let me tap in, let me check and see what's happening. So I think not being ashamed if you get to that place, and understanding that just because you can handle something doesn't mean you should handle something, doesn't mean you have to handle something, right? Like just because I can do it doesn't mean it's healthy for me to do.
And what about like saying no and like
I'm a
boundaries?
fan.
Because I find that that's another thing that we as people do. We try to be like people pleasers and take on 101 things. And sometimes it's like we just don't have it in us to do all of that stuff, but we just aren't able to maybe set boundaries or say no. My brother has taught me a ton about setting
Good for
boundaries.
him.
He's super, and he will always tell me like no is a complete sentence, and if you set boundaries, then it's up to the people around you to respect them, right? Like,
Mhm.
tell me not to touch your toaster when I'm at your house. I'm not going to touch your toaster because that's your boundary,
Right,
even if I feel stupid,
right.
right? And I had never really thought about that before, right? Like if something was super bad, then I would probably say like, no, I don't want you to do that, or I don't like if it was borderline going to hurt
Mhm.
me. But just because like I don't have time, or I don't really enjoy it when you do that, or I don't have time to do something for you, I probably would just be like, yeah, okay, and just begrudgingly do it, you know?
Right. So I
Oh,
think that your brother is absolutely right. No is a complete sentence. I think the piece that I feel like we as clinicians don't always talk about is that like people are going to say no, but then they're going to feel guilty.
mm-hmm.
So I am team say no. If you have 5 spoons when you wake up, if you give them all away, you don't have any for yourself. So say no. Like that is my thing. I believe in that. I think no is a complete sentence. But then what about that guilt that feels like that comes later? because we feel like we're letting someone down. And so one thing to remember is every time you say yes to somebody else, you're actually saying no to you. If I'm ripping and running and doing all these things for you, I don't have space, time, capacity to do it for me. And that's not okay.
Right.
Because I live in this body. I am responsible for me. And I need to make sure that I am well enough to do all of these things for the people in my life, right?
Right. Because there is the fact that when you wear yourself out, then you can't do any of the things that you're supposed to do, let alone things that you may have wanted to do.
Right.
Right.
But also another thing to think about is if you're doing something from a resentful place, if you're doing something out of a place of like false obligation, are you doing it to full capacity? Like, is it pretty? Okay, let me give you a personal example. So my husband's a chef, shout out to him, but I can tell when he's frustrated in his food. His food is usually a 10, 1 out of 10, he's an 11. When he's frustrated, girl, he be giving me 8.5. Like, I don't want 8.5. I want the 11, please. Thank you, sir. So when we're doing things,
yes,
thank you. But when we're doing things from like a fake sense of like, I have to do this. If I don't do this, this person's gonna be mad. I'm gonna feel bad. We don't do it well. We're doing
right. No, that's
doing it just enough to check the box.
Okay, look. So, guys, I'm so sorry because this is like my first time being live. There's actually people in here like watching us.
Can't see them.
Oh, and there's a one comment. Oh, my brother said, love that. Your body is your refuge. Grounding and being aware of your body is so key. So true.
Shout out to your brother.
Yeah, hi brother. Shout out to your husband too, who thinks that we look alike. Guys, do we look alike at all? That's what
Not today, but I think on those pictures we might. Like today we look like completely different people, but
right. So
maybe we should have put the picture up.
So when we did this picture or whatever, for this podcast, I was showing my husband the pictures and he goes, "Hey, why did you put 3 pictures of yourself in there and only one of that girl? Isn't that rude if you guys are co-hosting?" And I'm like, "Sir, there is 2 pictures of me and 2 pictures of her. And I am so offended that you don't know what I look like."
Okay.
So I text you, right? And your husband was like, y'all
like on these 3. He was like, on these 3, y'all do kind of look alike. I was like, what? I don't see it.
So my stepdaughter, she told me our chins and our noses. But here, see, my hair looks really light right now and yours looks really dark.
Dark, yeah.
But in those pictures, it does look the same. So guys, tell us if we look alike at all. All right. So somebody said, nailing the boundaries discussion. Life without boundaries is just pretty
codependency. Yeah. Yes.
There you go. Oh, can you see it now?
I can.
I don't know.
I clicked something.
Hey. But yeah, I think that's so cool. Thank you guys for, the people that joined and stuff. This is obviously our first time. We're going to be doing this, like once a week or something? Once a week. Let's do it.
Okay.
I definitely love it. So we're going to be doing this probably once a week. We'll set up a day and we will get better at like interacting with people and reading the comments. To be honest, I didn't know there was people. I didn't know how to look.
I couldn't. I can only see this one about codependency. So
yeah, see there's.
You're both beautiful. You look nothing alike. Thank you. I'll take beautiful any day.
Right?
Yeah, I don't. Especially like in the live, I don't think we look alike at all. Now on that picture, maybe.
Right. We're gonna have to pull up the pictures one of these days and have them look at it and see. Yeah. But back to this whole codependency and anxiety thing. So how do you feel? Because I know like relationships in the past, and I brought up like when I was married before and it wasn't a great marriage and things like that. And I was drinking a lot at the time and kind of using that as a way to like escape and whatnot. How do you feel that like relationships, how do they play a role in your stress, anxiety, and depression? Like what role do you feel like different relationships play?
I think relationships are just a mirror. Every relationship that you have is just a reflection of some aspect of the relationship that you have with yourself. And so I think that if there is something that is unhealed or something that you're dealing with, I think the relationship just exacerbates that. If you're an anxious person or you're a person who doesn't know how to say no, you'll probably end up in a relationship where that person is banking on you not knowing how to say no. Now, are they doing that maliciously? I don't know, because I don't know everybody. Some people are, some people are not. But I think that whatever you are dealing with is going to show up in your relationship.
I think that's very true. I think that's kind of, isn't that kind of like the law of attraction in general anyways, right? You
I
know what
guess. I mean, I don't I don't know that we're attracting lessons to make us be better, because that change is so difficult and people like really fight against it tooth and nail. But I can see what you're saying. Like, I'm a person who gives, I'm gonna attract a person who takes. Is that what you're
yeah.
saying? Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, or just in life in general, I feel like if there's something I'm struggling with, I'm gonna get hit with it. Like it's like until you perfect it, right? Until you get it
Yeah.
right, it feels that way. And like I think I have been like a huge giver in life, and one of my biggest lessons is like to like keep that sensitive and good heart, but still be able to hold my own and have boundaries, right? Like
Right.
not walked all over.
Right.
It's like it's a delicate dance.
Oh, it is. It's like a push and pull. But I
Mm,
think the biggest thing is, why am I giving? Do I have capacity to give? And can this person get it themselves? Because
that's a big
if you're, yeah, like if I'm just giving because I'm a giver, cute, but you're never going to figure out how to get it for yourself if I keep giving it to you.
right. Like what is the reason that you can't do it for yourself?
Mm-hmm.
That's
It's that whole like teach a man to fish, he'll feed himself forever type of thing. Like, I'm gonna give you the fish a couple of times because okay, that's the right thing to do. But when you gonna learn how to fish? Like, why is it on me?
because if I'm not here, I'm hungry.
Right. And then what? Now I have failed you because now I'm gone and you're hungry.
That's very true. That's very true. Okay, so relationships. All right. What about what about substance abuse? How do you feel like that plays a role in like depression and
Oh,
anxiety?
I think it only increases it. I
Hmm.
think I think when people are using, because I used to work in substance abuse like back in the day
Hmm.
when we met, I think that's what I was doing. I think when people are using, they are self-medicating. I think for some people it starts out fun, like especially the party drugs. I
Hmm.
think it starts out fun. I think it starts out as an escape, and then phew, we are off the deep end. And it doesn't take it away, because once you're no longer high, once you're no longer drunk, whatever you were running from, like, it's still there.
Yeah.
You got drunk to deal with, I don't know, like this situation in your life. Well, now that you're sober, now you have more of an issue because you're out of money because you spent your money getting drunk, and now you still have this issue, right? Like,
Mhm.
I think that it keeps people locked in a cycle,
Yeah.
but that's addiction.
And I know for me, when I was drinking all the time, it was like my constant thing was like, well, I'm anxious. So if I drink, I won't be anxious. But like
Mm-hmm.
the truth is that unless you go and drink 24/7, it's going to come back,
Yeah.
right? Deal with the root issue, which, I mean, if you don't do the work, you don't even know what that is.
Right. Right.
For sure. So I feel like so much has gone on since we met 10
Right.
years ago.
I know, right?
What kind of changes have you had in your life? Like what
Let's see.
have been
I
like stressful for you or great for you?
um, I feel like moving to Texas was stressful and great. So I was living in Tennessee when we met, and moving a family to an unknown place is crazy, but it was like great. Like, right, it was stressful while it was happening. It was some tears, it was some stress, it was some like prayers, like, Lord, please send me a whole lot of money, like, so we can make this happen.
Right.
But then it worked out. We love it here. I bought a house. That was stressful AF.
Oh my
When
goodness.
I tell you,
Yes.
that was stress. Like, oh my God, like people are just doing this consistently.
So it
Like,
should
it was a
feel
hot
like the
mess.
biggest thing ever. Like, I'm telling you, when I bought my home, like, I have this Bible, right? And ever
Hmm.
since I went to read right after I met you, like 2011 probably,
Hmm.
I all my like big prayers in there because I'm a geek, and so it's just full of all this scratch writing, right?
Right.
Um, I had been putting in there forever, like, I want to buy a home, and I always thought like it'll never be a thing, right? So then I started working on it, and like when I actually started wanting to do it and looking into it, it was probably
Right.
months until I did it. Like, it was bing bang, no big deal, right? Except for those 3 months were literally the biggest roller coaster I've ever been through. They're like, yeah, you're approved. No, you're not
Oh,
approved. Let me have your firstborn son's birth certificate from last year, that baby
with a
daddy.
blood
I'm like,
sample.
what?
Yeah.
What are you even talking
Right.
about?
Right.
And
Yeah.
then I think like the day before we moved in, they were like, oh, you're not approved. And I'm like, we're like packed and we're leaving, and like what do you mean we're not approved?
Right.
And then the lady who we were buying my house from, she's like totally into God and whatever. And she was like, you know what? God told me you're supposed to have it, so go ahead and move your stuff in. And if the loan doesn't go through, we'll figure it out. And I'm like, what, you crazy lady?
That's so
When I
sweet
tell you,
though.
the next day, it went through, they put it through like a different way somehow, whatever. And I still to this day am like super close with the lady we bought the house from. She like my whole heart. She was like the sweetest lady ever. She was just like, no, you move in there and we'll figure it out. I'm like,
That's great. That's good though. Like
yeah,
a
like
blessing. That's huge. Yeah.
another, and like she wanted to live next to her parents that were getting older, and she just was like, well, if I have to rent to you instead, or I have to whatever, we'll figure it out. I've already decided it's your house. And I was like, you're just
I
gonna
need that kind of like, I've already decided. Like, I need that in my life.
I after that I really did start another part of calming my anxiety and depression down. Is I really did start, like, I am a huge believer in God, not necessarily like religious, like super religion focused, but God and spirituality, all of that, so into it. And I've been like leaning hard into like everything is going to be okay and God's got it, right?
Hmm.
Because like I would spend so much time just worrying and worrying and worrying,
Right.
and it's a waste of
It
time.
is. Because we can't control anything.
No, we can't. It's like a complete waste of time to sit.
Hmm.
I would go over like every word that somebody said to me, and like every, just like
I've
crazy.
done
And I'm like, you have
that.
to shut your brain down.
Yeah. I've done that. I think that if we knew how much our words impacted other people, we would be just a little bit more careful with them. Because I think that the person whose conversation that we were replaying, like whoever that person is, they didn't spend no time thinking about us. They
No,
were
and they probably
they were like, boop, I said it, moved on. And we were like, oh my God, they said what? So I feel like people should be a little bit more careful with their words. And I get why they don't, because if you're in conversation and someone pauses, it becomes awkward. But I tell people, just say like, I'm processing, give me a second.
You know what? That's actually good, because I am that person. Like, I'm very uncomfortable and kind of shy and whatever, even though I'm a talker, right? But I'm very like self-conscious or whatever. And I will just say whatever because I don't want you just looking at me like, and then like, why did you say that, girl? Like, you didn't need to say that at all.
Right.
So that's actually good.
They taught me in grad school how to be comfortable with silence because I used to be like that too. Like, gotta feel the space. Like, there cannot be a moment for pause. Like, no, we're just gonna keep talking until somebody else cuts me off and everybody's just talking. But they teach you how to be comfortable with silence. It's a process. Because now I can just stare at people. Like, we could just look at each other. And then I'll look off and I'll come back. Did you want to say something? And they're like, no. And then, okay.
See, to me, I feel like that's rude. Like, if you was just looking at me, I would be like,
girl, what's up? No.
you gonna say something or you gonna not look at me, right?
Right.
No. But I think we all do feel like the urge to fill space, right? And also, I think for the most part, just as people in general, we care what people think.
Even the people who say that they don't, they secretly do. And I know that they secretly do because they come to my office and tell me that they do. So.
Right. Okay. So I have to tell you, this is funny for me because everything, so I do sober coaching, right? And like, I've always worked in recovery, like kind of health and wellness side, whatever. But like, truthfully, when I talk to people, it's always like real and doesn't have to be like, I don't want to say not professional, but not super professional. And like, so I love talking to like therapists and counselors and like, because it's so like professionally like worded and, thought out. And I'm like, girl, why don't you do this? Like, it's such like a different, I guess, like a different approach when you're like kind of coaching somebody through like sobriety and dealing with anxiety and all that kind of stuff, or like being a therapist, right?
Yeah, I think it's different. But I am very plain language in my session.
Yeah.
I am not, like, I'm never in session like, you had a Freudian slip. Like, I'm never doing that. That's crazy.
You're never doing.
No.
Okay, so one thing I think all of us probably want to know about our therapists, right? When you have problems, you have anxiety, you have issues, do you just be talking to yourself? Do you go to therapy? What do you do?
No, I talk to my therapist. No, we're not talking to ourselves. Like, hello, self, use your coping skills.
So
No, we're not doing that.
I used to watch Dr. Phil all the time, and I was reading his book or whatever. This was like years ago, and he said somebody asked him what's like the worst thing that his wife would always say to him, and it was that, don't you fucking Dr. Phil me. Like, if I'm mad, I want to be mad, and don't you try to kill me.
No, I get it.
Does he feel that way?
He used to. I don't do it anymore. He used to. Yeah. He'd be like, don't be therapist and me. Right. Yeah.
For sure. For sure.
Funny.
But no, so you see a therapist too.
When I need to.
That's cool. Have you dealt with like anxiety, depression type of stuff?
Both, which I talk about heavily in my book, The Wife's Guide to Beating the Side Chick. I talk about my depression and my postpartum and like my struggles. I talk about that in there. I didn't really start dealing with anxiety for real until that's new. Like, the depression's always been a thing, but the anxiety is new. And I don't know if it has anything to do with having this last baby. I have a 4-year-old, but yeah, you just deal with it. Like, routines, habits, grounding, like all of the things that I just said on here, those are the things that I actually do. Like, I don't tell people to do stuff that I haven't done, tried, read about. Like, I do those things.
So that actually brings up a good point. As far as like postpartum and having babies and stuff, I remember after having my second daughter, and I had my first daughter when I was 16, I had my second daughter when I was 20. So I had my kids super young, but I remember telling my mom, like, and they were a little like probably like 4 or 5-ish, whatever. They weren't like babies anymore, right? And I remember telling her, like, I love being a mom and it's nothing about that, but like I feel like a part of you like goes away
Dies.
when you have a, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
know what that is, if that is postpartum, if that is, but it feels like it's like taking, because you know, you have all this energy, you have all this want to do 100 things and all these, I don't know, like, I don't want to say like dreams and whatever. And it feels like after you have children, like you get just less, I don't know, active, or I don't know. It's like a constant state of depression a little bit.
If you let it be, like you don't have to stay there. Like
Mm-hmm.
there are things you can put in place. So I was the most prepared for postpartum with my last baby just because I had it with my first two. So like I had a plan in place. Me and my husband had like a code word. Like I was gonna like I had things in order for myself. And the reason I'm vague about what those things are is because I would never want somebody to say, well, Latoya the therapist said you this and it's not working. Like, no, you got to figure out what makes you happy. You have to figure out what brings you joy and then try to like insert that into your life. If you know that waking up to a sink full of dishes is going to send you over the edge, that means the night before, clean the dishes, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
but that goes back to what I was saying earlier about being in tune with your body and what you need and what your needs are, because you have to figure out, okay, I'm triggered when this happens. How can I eliminate this trigger? Okay, I can't eliminate this trigger. How can I navigate through it better?
So one thing that I'm debating if I should talk about this on here or not, but I'm gonna do it anyways. I'm be a little vague though. But after, yeah, I had two of my daughters and I went to go see a therapist or counselor, whatever. I was dealing with substance abuse at the time too, but so it was kind of like counseling regarding alcoholism, but also like postpartum. And I was having like scary like thoughts about being alone with my kids or whatever. Like, what if I did something? What if something happened? And it was like really like weird and it was bothering me, right? And I was telling my counselor about it, and I was like, I know you're gonna think I'm a psycho, right? Like you're so am I gonna have to like go to the hospital or some weird shit? But I have to tell somebody
Right.
because I
Right.
don't I keep thinking this stuff. It's so like off the wall. And he was like, have you ever like thought through all of that? Like thought through the action of like, would you actually hurt your child or do something to your child? And I was like, no, why would I do that?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, just do it right here sitting with me. And I like thought about it and I was like, no, I wouldn't do anything like that, right? And
Right.
he said that it was like literally a part of like anxiety and panic attacks, like a fear of what if something happens. Or and where I actually got it from was I had watched a show on Oprah about this lady that had postpartum and was like having visions of hurting her kid or whatever. And I had thought about it so much that I was like, well, I don't want to be in the house by myself with these kids. And what if I, you know what I mean? And I had worked myself up to think like all these crazy things. And I went in his office and was like, am I nuts? Like, am I? And he was just like straight faced as could be, was like, nope. And do you know, it never crossed my mind again, like ever. It was the craziest thing.
Well, that was good. We didn't want it to keep crossing your mind. Yeah.
It would be weird, but I went in there literally thinking like, I I think I'm not okay, right? And I say that just to say that talking to somebody, even if you think it's like nobody's ever going to understand this or nobody's ever going to get where I'm coming from or whatever, like they really do. And like people are there to help you, you know?
Yeah. I agree with that.
Definitely.
I totally agree.
Having children, especially for mothers, is also a grieving process. You're grieving the person you were, you're grieving the dreams that cannot be because you've got babies and their needs to manage. And that's really true too, I think. Until which really recently I've come to a place where I definitely am getting back to having like my own dreams and everything that I had before, right? And knowing that, you know, I have things that I want to complete. And if I don't do those things, then am I going to be a happy person in the long run? You know, like you have to do the things that you want in life in order to be happy.
Yeah, and I also think it's easier as your children get older to explore and do
That,
the things that you want to do. Like when they're young, they need you for literal survival. Like they're gonna die if you don't pay attention to them and you're on your, I don't know, your iPad chasing your dreams. So I think that it is a grieving process. I totally agree with that comment because who you were, you can't really be that person. I mean, you can be glimpses of that person when you have a babysitter, but you just can't be that person anymore.
that is so true. And it is good. It's like, you know, as they get older, you start to get a little piece of yourself back,
Yep.
right? And
Hmm.
I like that you said it doesn't have to be forever because
Right.
that's completely true, right? You stay there if you want to stay there, but if you don't, you got to get up and move around,
Yep.
right?
And you have to. And I think there's nothing wrong with like taking a pause, acknowledging, okay, like this is sad, I'm grieving, this baby keep crying, or this anxiety has overtaken me, or like whatever it is. Take a minute, pause, acknowledge your feelings. That's cool. I support that. But I think sometimes in acknowledging, people get stuck. And I'm never saying be stuck ever. I'm never saying that. Like, because nobody's coming to save you. In any of the situations that we discussed today, nobody's coming to save you. You really got to do the work, whether it's depression, anxiety, substance abuse, children, like you are responsible for you ultimately.
Right.
Like you'll have support along the way, but you are the one that's responsible for the work.
Mm-hmm. And you can have all the support in the world, and like if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, for instance, like my drinking, right? Like I have the best parents. I have, you know, siblings that really love me and care about me. I had kids that were, you know, teenagers and wanted me to do different and were like super supportive of me. But when I wasn't willing to like make a change,
Mm-hmm.
change to be had, you know, like until I was actually, and I won't even say ready, because there were like many times that I tried to get sober and went to treatment like a few times. And I tried, but for some reason I didn't have all the components together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that at some point I finally just all the stars aligned and I I did all the work and it finally helped out, right? But
Right.
I think too that knowing that like things aren't ever going to be perfect, right? So like keep on trying, you know?
Mm-hmm.
If you have anxiety and you're like working on your anxiety, and you might have anxiety for a day, but at least you're not having anxiety every day anymore, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it never, I mean, like I said, like some anxiety is good. There will be anxiety because life is new. Every day is a different day. That's why those routines are important to bring some type of normalcy. But yeah, it's gonna happen and you have to just keep trying every day, even when it sucks. There is no shortcut.
Even when it sucks, hey?
Yes, even when it sucks. This was so fun. So are we doing this again next week?
We are. So
Okay.
we can, I mean, discuss timing and what we think we want to do as far as like a weekly time and day and get it together so that we're able to do this same time, same place all the time.
Yeah, we could talk about it offline. This was
Yeah.
fun though. Thank you everyone who showed up. If you dropped in, if you stayed, if you left, if you told a friend, we definitely appreciate you for being here. We appreciate all the comments and we are so excited that you were able to spend time with us today.
Yes. Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Girl.